by James Swearingen.
Perfect. Yeah.
To really get them to sing. First note, play it, hit. Try to sing that note. Let's hear it. Ready? Go. More. Louder. So you've got to trick them into it sometimes. Okay? Okay. I hope you're patient with me as I like to kind of show it's a performance, but I like you to see what goes on in class because there's a lot of cool things. The first time I had them try and sing that, it was painful from the standpoint, not that they couldn't do it, but the voice is a very personal thing. And when you make a mistake with an instrument, you look at you gotta blame it. But your voice. So I will do things like turn the lights out and have them sing. Because it's kind of like under the cover of the darkness. Sound familiar? People feel safer for different reasons. But that kind of gets rid of all those barriers. So we do a lot of that, a lot of singing and using our ears. So at this time, we're going to do a Christmas tune for you, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. You're going to hear a little Christmas and some other stuff. So here we go, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. It's a little piece that we did. It's called Equinox. We took the kids earlier in the year, November. I believe it was November 10th, to be exact. We took them up to North Idaho College, and they went to the gathering of the bands, and where they get a chance to gather with musicians from all over the area, their age, in one big mass band. And a couple directors up there at NIC, Brian Hennepert, worked with the group, and this is one of the songs we played. It's called Equinox by Michael Sweeney, who's a really prolific composer for young students. Our last song is going to be a piece called Incantation and Ritual. I always wanted to say dance, because didn't we do one by that name last year? I'm always messing up the names of things. This is by Brian Balmages, who, interesting enough, was a band teacher's kid, just like I was. And he writes great stuff for all levels, up to professional level. But it's really nice because I used to go to conferences, and he would sit at the table with the little people, and I enjoyed that, because usually the guest conductors would go in this little special fancy room and sit and talk shop, but he sat out with us, and we got these strike-up conversations. It's really funny because both of us, being the kids of band teachers, we hated concert night, especially in high school, because that's the night what happens. All the calls come in. Oh, I'm not feeling good, or oh my. Got a flat tire, or and man, we learned quick to get out of the house. Just show up when we're supposed to be there. It was real kind of interesting to kind of share some of those stories. But We do there's a lot of things that I like to do by Brian Balmages. He writes very sensitively, and it teaches the kids how to be expressive without being unattainably difficult, if that makes sense. Just because a lot of times things can be musically easy, or technically easy, but musically difficult, and vice versa. Because you can have whole notes and half notes and quarter notes, a couple of eighth notes. Not too hard technically, but how do you play those things? It's how do you tell that story? I liken it to, because we are telling a story. If I tell a story, once upon a time there were 3 bears. Mama bear, Papa bear, baby bear, Goldilocks. Once upon a time there was 3 bears. The difference of inflection, and that's what I try to teach these kids. And it's kind of a lesson in life. How do you respond to one another? How do you interpret things? Body language up here. Hopefully tells you they're excited and ready to play. There's just so many things, and I'm a rambler, okay, and I very ADD, so please forgive me for that. So I'll just be quiet. Incantation and Ritual by Brian Balmages.